Welcome, everybody, to the Streakers On podcast. It is I, Jacob Moore, the non-texting sports analyst. Don't think Mr. Moore for your money there. Getting on his phone.
Texting the group saying, hi,
I'm calling you out like your 10th grade science teacher when you used to try to sleep during class, Mr. Dan.
You think I'm back young? I had a cell phone in 10th grade?
I said you were trying to sleep. We all know Dan slept in class. But anyways.
Oh, of course. I did in college, too.
Well, that's stupid with a penny sport. But
self-proclaimed
sports analyst who needs a haircut, but I'm just letting that hair flow with the luscious locks. And we are joined by, before I announce everyone, we have a very special guest on the show today, Bry Pup 3.0. So Bry Pup, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And you got to say, you can tell Chazzy and Bry Pup are brothers. Like, look at that. They even got the same adorable smile.
Same nose, I might point out.
A Weisingfeld smile. And, of course, we have Chazzy, Mr. 6.5. Update pending, milk cooled, ready to rock and roll. There is no one more dashing though than Mr. Lane Dashing Dashco.
How's it going, everybody?
And last but not least, the one who I call out more than Gordon Ramsay calls you out for using pre-cooked chicken, Mr. Moore for your money. So we got a big game today. Obviously, winner takes all. The Pacers figured out, unlike the Oilers, hey, if you win enough games, you can take it to Game 7. And they have done so, even with the injuries. Man, I have gained a new respect for Tyrese Haliburton, man. Like, playing with that injury, and he is with that calf strain, and he's still balling. And you can tell he's battling. You can tell he's in pain, but he's balling.
Yeah. It's unusual for a basketball player playing for injuries. I'll give him a lot of credit.
That's true. They usually don't play well.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it's different than hockey, right? You don't really see, like, you don't get the shocking injuries at the end of the year. It's like, oh, he's playing with a bruised lung or a punctured pelvis or anything like that. Usually it's like usually you know what's going on by the time. But I gotta give Tyrese Haliburton some credit here. He's got really bad calf injuries, probably not 100%, but he's rocking and rolling, and he's taking his team that was supposed to be getting swept into Game 7 tonight.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people said the Pacers are going to get swept. And, I mean, if you look, it's actually been the Thunder playing from behind from a lot of this series, right? Because you had the Pacers winning Game 1. Then you had the Thunder winning Game 2. Then the Pacers winning Game 3. And, yes, then the Thunder did win 4 and 5. The first time OKC took a lead in this series. Then you finally saw the Pacers tie it in Game 6. And my big surprise for Game 6 was it was just, in my opinion, a dominant game from tip-off for the Pacers.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, it was, I don't know what happened. Like, we got to get into that. But I really think OKC, to be honest, I don't know how you guys feel, but I think they really blew their chance here. You know, it was early in that game. It was a 10-2 game for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the Pacers kind of looked like they were out of it at that point. It was 10-2. They had missed their first 5 shots, and you could tell the pressure was setting in. The fans were getting quiet. The Thunder were building momentum. And then all of a sudden, it's like you let them get a 13-12 lead, and all of a sudden, now you get outscored 68-32. Like, what happened there?
Well, I agree with Mr. Daskell at the Indiana got all the momentum going into this game, right?
Oh, 100%.
The Game 6 was a very low-scoring defensive game, and that's how Indiana wants to play, right? They don't have to be power offense the way OK City, I think that's her name, OK City has.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City, I should say.
Yeah.
Okay, but my more issue is, and don't get me wrong, what the Pacers have done has been incredible.
For sure.
But let's be honest, OKC's the better team. Like, let's just keep it a buck.
Star power for sure.
And they're the healthier team. I really think if OKC could just find a way to slow down the speed of the bench of the Pacers, you can win this one and just get SGA in a more open space. We have seen in this series, if SGA isn't rocking and rolling, neither are the Indiana Pacers are rocking and rolling, but the OKC Thunder are not. And Lane, you talked about this a lot with me, saying how SGA is the new face of the league. Is he not the new face of the league if he doesn't win this series tonight? As they took the lead in 5, and then they went to Indiana. They could have closed it out, and they just completely pooped the bed.
Well, you're going to definitely hear a lot of the choking comments coming from Stephen A. Smith tomorrow. Yeah, when you watch ESPN tomorrow, if this does end up happening, you're going to be hearing a lot of, is he good enough, and is he a choker, and Can he be a face of a franchise? Let's just put it honestly. I think this is going to come down to either one of two things. Either SGA is going to go out there and ball and put up 40 points. It's going to be a blowout. Or we're going to see that a shift in the NBA here where you can't rely on one or two guys to go out there and win you a championship, right? This is two different teams we're seeing right now. We're seeing a team that like was built in the old style where it's just like two or three guys carry the entire way and bring you a championship, which was how I think OKC is built around with Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, and SGA. Those are the three that's supposed to be enough to carry them. But right now, the Pacers are just so deep right now. They've got so many points coming off the bench. Every night, there's 30 points, 40 points, sometimes 50 points. There's just so many points coming from every single angle. The ball passing, the movement, the teamwork here. And OKC is driven around three guys. I don't know if OKC is the better team. They might have better players. Sure, I'll give you that. They might have better players in certain roles. 100%. SGA is better than every single player on that team. 100%, no doubt. But when I look at the team perspective, I think the Pacers are the better basketball team.
Interesting point. I like it. Very interesting point.
They have veteran leadership. They have good starters. They've got people who pick up the points. They've got everything you need. They got the bench. They've got a good coach. I just think they're better. They're better built, but I think OKC has the better players. But it's hard to.
But is it better players or better player? And you guys are, some of you guys are more into basketball than I am. Dan is certainly not the one who's more into basketball than I am. But SGA is by far the best player in the league. And or at least in the series, but is the guy like Pascal Siakam, who's currently the second odds favorite to win the whatever the MVP is called here. We'll just call it the most valuable baller. That's what it should be called, by the way. The MVP, most valuable baller.
I like it.
People are talking like Siakam could win this again, and funny enough, Siakam's not even really considered the top player on this team. Right? This team's ran around Halliburton. You're getting 48. You got 48 points from your bench last game if you're the Indiana Pacers. So I wonder, SGA is the best player in the series, but this is more of a question for Lane, Chazzy, and Brypup. Do you guys think that maybe the Pacers have maybe the second, third, and fourth best player in this series, if that makes any sense?
I don't know how Chazzy and Brypup feel. I just think, like I said, I think it's a team atmosphere. I don't even think they even have the second, third, or fourth best player, but they have so many different options. And that's what I think it really comes down to, because you see when the shift comes, when the starters go off and the bench comes on, it feels like we're watching a completely different game, right? Mm-hmm. You see the way the bench plays for OKC. You look at some of their points from coming off the bench here, Chet, just to go off a few, like Alex Caruso with 0 points, Dort with 3 points, Wiggins had barely any points. And then you see McConnell coming up. He's getting 10 points out of the 4 and 6 games. Obi Toppin and Maturin. And these guys just come on, and it's like watching two different teams. You see the starters kind of similar, but then the bench comes on. It's like, oh, okay, this isn't the same. What do you guys feel, Chazzy and Brypup?
For me, I think it's going to have to come down to OKC's starting five. Williams for sure, just to give that support. Shea's going to shoot tonight, only coming off 24 points, so expect him to have at least 30 plus. But also, it's a big moment for Chet and Hartenstein out of New York.
Yeah, those guys. Chet Holmgren has not been good, and going to keep it a buck 180. He needs to step up. 4 points coming from a starting position. Come on, man.
The puppy sent me a rivalry this morning, and I just accepted it. He's all over the Pacers, so
I'm not surprised. Well, we laughed at Dan for Game 6, and we're here.
Yeah, we're here.
I got the points.
But my question is though for you guys more when we're talking about players. So SGA is the best player in this series, right? Would Halliburton be your second best player in the series?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Would Siakam be third?
I disagree. I think
maybe Williams.
I think Siakam's better than Williams. In my opinion, Siakam has made bigger shots and bigger moments than Williams in this series. You haven't seen Williams hit a shot when SGA's covered when they need a bucket. That has been SGA or go home. That has been that team. Where Pascal Siakam, we saw the same thing when the Raptors. You see, Lane, you're wearing your We the North shirt. And you know what? The Toronto Raptors, when they went on their big run, there was one game in the finals where Pascal Siakam put up 40 points, right? And I could not that he's done that in this game yet, but you look at game 6, you had 6 guys with at least 10 points or more in game 6 for the Indiana Pacers. I'm not seeing OKC's like Chet, had 4 points, Lane?
Yeah,
like
4
if
points.
they do that again, you're going to
That's done.
see, and my point is going to be proven, that maybe OKC has the best player, but Indiana might have the second best player and the third best player and the fourth best player.
Now, as someone that doesn't know basketball, I have a question.
What's up, Dan?
Let me ask you a question.
Is Hamilton Bone, SJA, whatever his name is, Shy, right? Shy. Good dude and everything. He's young, correct?
Yes, he's very young.
So this is kind of like for starting his career, right? So in
Yes.
my opinion,
Launch his career.
in my opinion, okay, not knowing much about basketball, in a game 7 like this is veteran leadership versus young talent. And I think this is where we're going to see Siakam really shine tonight from his experience playing with the Raptors. And I think Shea on the other team is kind of like a Connor McDavid. He's going to get to his final, get to his game 7. He's going to learn a valuable lesson from it. But I don't think this is the end of his career at all. I think we're going to see multiple championships from him later down the road. And he probably has the most potential to be the best basketball player. I think Siakam's kind of at the point where not that he's hit his peak so much, but, you know, he kind of hit that peak. And from here on in, he might be coming down a little bit. So this is his last chance to get a second championship, right? So I think, because we all think of Siakam was a young guy. It was like 6 years ago the Raptors won.
He's a veteran.
Siakam
now.
was not a rookie when they won. So Siakam probably be playing about 8-9 years.
Let's see how
I
old he
mean,
is.
And don't forget about basketball. We poke fun at the injuries with basketball players, and they don't play with a hurt. But in the flip side of it, they
He's
have
31.
zero equipment whatsoever. Okay?
Well, they
like
wear a
hockey
jersey.
and football,
Don't
they're
show.
loaded up with pillows and helmets and all kinds of stuff, padding. And if I played basketball, my knees and elbows would be squeaked like crazy. Like, give the guys credit, you know?
No, but I think my thing with SGA, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't he the player saying he's the new Michael Jordan? And he's the new, like...
That was
or-
Anthony Edwards.
I am getting them mixed up.
But SGA, if they win tonight and wins MVP, I think he's in the same conversation of winning regular season MVP, playoff MVP, winning the championship as I think LeBron, Shaq, Jordan, and there's another one, but I think only 3 other players.
I wouldn't be surprised. So he might be put in that conversation after tonight, and
Wow.
Yeah.
we're gonna really
He
see.
is Michael Jordan, unlike Anthony Lanton.
It's going to be funny. It really is going to be an interesting night to see how this really plays out. Where you're going to see the older team, the older Pacers who have been around a little bit more and have been more used to this kind of environment, be able to kind of find their game and play a little bit more comfortable. Whereas OKC feels like they don't have that veteran leadership. And I don't know how many times I've said that here on this podcast. We had the notes from game 2 and I left it in. It's the same, because you can say the same thing at the end of the day. They don't have that player that's able to be the veteran voice. The guy's like, here's what we got to do tonight. Here's how we got to execute. Here's what we need to do in these areas to win these games, right? Everyone is so young and they've built this team through all these draft picks, getting, first round pick and top end picks. And they've got a good team here, but I just don't know if they have the veteran leadership to push them through a night like tonight where the nerves and the crowd's going to be loud and the nerves and everyone's eyes are on you, right? There's no more hockey. There's no football outside of NFL or CFL. There's nothing on tonight. All the eyes are going to be on the millions of people. There's going to be 4 million, maybe 5 million people watching you, YouTube TV, watching you on ABC. So the noise is on you. The noise is going to be in the building. How do you fluctuate it, right? And we saw how the like Pascal Siakam can be like that. He was in Game 6 against the Golden State Warriors with the Raptors, able to bring the championship home to Toronto, right? So he knows that environment. I don't know if SGA is ready for that, and we kind of saw it in Game 6 where he felt like where he was looking. You kind of saw him in Game 6. He was looking around like a puppy, like Bri Pup over here. I'm just kidding, but he looked like a puppy scared. Where he was like, I don't
Why
know,
pup
man.
definitely ain't scared.
No, I was just joking.
Why
I was
pup's
just-
a pit bull puppy, bro?
I'm just joking. I'm just
So those 4 players are Jordan did it 4 times where they won the regular season MVP and the Finals MVP, Larry Bird, Shaquille, and Hakeem.
I like Larry Bird.
That's interesting, though. You know what? LeBron James has never done that. That's a surprise.
That's crazy.
Very rare. I didn't realize how rare it was.
Kobe.
Yeah.
Like you got a lot of top end players on that list not there. But I'm curious here, and I think we need to get into a little bit on what we've talked about what's been happening in the last few games, right?
Yeah.
However, they have the ability to make changes. That's a beautiful thing what these coaches do. They don't just go, play basketball. So if you're OKC's head coach, Lane, congratulations. You've just been hired. I'm very proud of you. What is your main goal for a change here?
It's you got to find a way to stop this bench. I don't know what you got to do. If you got to split up the starters, maybe play maybe put Williams in more up for the bench guys, just to have someone out there that can limit this bench. Like it just feels like every time this bench comes out. I just want to read this comment. Feel free to graciously call me out. But Siakam doesn't quite have the magic in Indy. I would disagree. I think he does have the magic. I think he's been a fantastic player, but
he hasn't put up the same points he did in Toronto.
He doesn't need to. But
he doesn't need to, though. That is true, right?
He's at a different stage of his career now, right? Like back in Toronto, besides a Collide, he's kind of arguably a franchise player that was drafted and all that. In Indiana, he's kind of more of I don't want to say support player. I think he's more than a support player, but kind of a support veteran leadership, right? So, interesting comment. But I just want to point out to Lane's comment from earlier that really fascinated me. He has a very good point. There's really no other sports on tonight, so I think we could see some record-breaking numbers on viewership and ad revenue and all like the business side of sports that we talked about, how Chazzy's talked about a few times on the island here. I think we could see some record-breaking numbers on the business side of sport. And the other thing too that Lane pointed out off camera, this is the first time in 9 years we've had a Game 7 in the finals in the NBA. So unlike hockey, where most of the time it hits the seventh game, this is kind of like do or die Super Bowl situation that's really, really unique. So I just want to point that out there.
But
unlike the Oilers, the Indiana Pacers figured out how to get the series to 7 games.
Yeah, right. But Jacob, getting back to your comment, I just wanted to see what that comment. Hi, Lorraine. But I don't know if you got to find
that's
someone.
59, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just think you got to find a way to stop the bench. Like you can't have 48 points coming off the bench again. Like you got it's like I said, it feels like two different teams. It feels like two different games. The starters kind of balance each other out. SGA puts up and then Halliburton, but then the bench comes on, and it's like you're watching two different ball games. Like if OKC can, what's that, Dan?
So a quick question.
Yep.
Is that Oklahoma City tonight, right?
It's in Oklahoma City. Yeah, they're on the
right. So to stop the bench, go just put thumbtacks on the bench or something.
Now my question is here, and you don't see this so much anymore. Does SGA play the whole game or pretty damn?
Whoa.
Seriously, you think about some of those. As much as people argue LeBron James isn't the GOAT, I would argue he's the GOAT of this era. And you look at some of those championships with the Cavaliers, he would play the whole damn game.
Really?
And that's how they would get it done.
He would honestly play a lot.
He would honestly play the entire game because let's be honest, back when he won a championship in Cleveland, it was basically him and him. Like the team wasn't spectacular. Even all those times they crushed the Raptors' dreams, it was just they just could not stop LeBron James. You need one win here. Do you just tell SGA you're playing 46 minutes?
Yeah.
You get a minute off per quarter. And we'll use all our timeouts to make sure you're hydrated. Like seriously, is that it?
They might have to
off for half, and that's it. You're done.
They honestly did, Jacob.
I think you have to. I think if it's a tight game, which I don't expect to see a blowout, or if you go down early, if Indiana just gets on a carry, Indiana like Louisiana and get going, I think SGA might have to play the whole game. Like what's been his? I don't know what his average minutes have been.
He does. You typically play about the 4. Chazzy would agree. He plays about 40 minutes, right, Chazzy?
Yeah, 36 to 40, yeah.
But I'm saying in this game today, this is a do or die game, and this was something I was screaming at the television about Mr. Connor McDavid. But I really wanted him to play Connor McDavid, double, triple shift him in that third period, and they just didn't. Right?
I
So
don't know if I really
this is
agree.
where I'm saying, is it time to really just say to SGA, this is your game to take over? And here's an interesting one in the CFL here. Is the GOAT coach Craig Dickinson scared of the rain, or is he scared of the rain in a barnyard against Ottawa? Usually beats them every time.
Wow.
That's a fascinating one because, man, that Calgary game, that Chazzy, you must have felt like you were watching Calgary from last year.
Shocked.
It was terrible.
I was shocked how bad VA played. I hate to call my guy out. I love VA.
At the same time, though, we're seeing the same problem Jake Mayer had last year now in Calgary. You have one wide receiver again because Reggie Bangleton's injured. You got Dominic Rhymes. Yeah, that's it. I don't know why Calgary hasn't picked up Alexander Hollins off free agency. Like, that just mind boggles me there. You got a 1,000-yard receiver just chilling with his feet up, drinking margaritas. Tell him you'll give him some free margaritas in Calgary and get him in your lineup.
Well, it's really interesting to see how sports change over generations, right? Football used to be a team sport, and now you can argue with guys like Bennington and Coatsy on the Argos and Lewis in Ottawa. It's kind of more becoming a one superstar player in the wide receiver and the quarterback. Versus the NBA, back in the LeBron James game days, like what Jacob was saying, it was a one-player effort. But now we're seeing Indiana really changing our strip, putting it into a full team sport. So let's go back to Jacob's comment here quickly. I kind of disagree with you. I think in order for KC to win, if you can't beat them, join them, right?
They
You
don't
tried
have
to
the bench
beat
to do it.
Indiana in your own game. You were supposed to sweep them in 7. So maybe take a page out of Indiana's book and say, hey, Bence, you got to do better.
They're
No.
not good enough,
At
though.
At the end of the day, who makes the most money? Is it the
That's
exact
true.
same thing I said about the Oilers? And Chazzy and Bright Pup, get ready for a laugh. It's the same thing I say about the Leafs all the bloody time. You can't go with the Leafs. It's all Matthews and Marner, and then go to the OK City Thunder and say, oh, SGA, you did your best, but, we needed more from the bench who makes $5 and a Harlem sandwich. No, you need your top players to be top players. So play SGA the entire game. If they lose this game and his minutes are under 40, the coach should be demoted to the assistant coach. Screw it.
Really? Wow.
Because if you lose this game in a series you should have won, and let's be honest too, in the
Could have
NBA,
swept.
you don't see
Yeah.
upsets that often. You don't see upsets that often in the NBA. And the Pacers are I'm just going to be a buck here. They're an okay team all season. They were okay.
Yeah,
Okay
they're what,
City,
5th or 6th in the West, something like that?
which is just okay.
Yeah.
OKC was the best
Maybe.
team in the bloody league,
So I don't know American
and it
geography,
wasn't
I
even
don't.
close. So you're
It's
looking
crazy.
at this series should have been done in 5, and now it's 7. And if you lose at home with your star player sitting on the bench 8 to 10 minutes, then there's a problem.
Hey, maybe
I don't care if
Dickerson,
he's tired. Tell him he can have a nice break tomorrow. Play the whole game.
maybe Dickerson's a switch to a basketball coach. Then we play inside. Don't worry about the weather.
No, you know what? Then he just needs to coach in BC.
Yeah, there you go.
That the Lions might need a different coach. Buck Pierce has not looked great in his first 3 games as a coach.
Yeah.
Not that they're going to fire Buck Pierce, not like that, but it's interesting here when I'm talking. I'm harping a lot, right? On you need SGA to play almost the whole game. If you're the Pacers, I think you continue this whole it's one for all and all for one kind of mentality, right?
Yeah.
Lion team is Lane put in his notes.
But there
right?
is
Totally agree.
M.E. Bam.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm looking at this Pacer team and what they've been able to do with their bench is just incredible. I
Yeah.
even think about the one game where Halliburton didn't put up a single bucket in the first half, and they still hung around because their backup point guard just decided to go out there and absolutely ball.
Yeah.
They seem to have a next man up mentality.
I love that
and-
most valuable baller. That is so cool.
Yeah, see, that's way better. NBA,
Yeah, way
call me.
better.
I'll sell it to you cheap. I'll even get you a trophy. We'll make you an NFT in the Streakers app. It'll be grand. But
Exactly.
I'm looking at this here, and I think if you're Indiana, you need to just not run all off one player because I don't think that's the way you're built, and just go out there and I would say pretty much do what you've been doing this whole series. Hasn't really been a game where I felt the Pacers looked terrible.
No.
Hmm.
Like even the games they've lost, I felt like OKC just were the better team, but I
What is
didn't
that one
feel.
blowout? Is it game 2 or game 3?
Yeah, but
That-
man, even when there was a game that they lost kind of handedly, I didn't feel the Pacers
Game
necessarily
2.
played
Game 2, yeah, as well.
bad, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
No.
I feel every game this series, the Pacers have probably played the way they've wanted to play. It's
And
just,
even the blowout was only, 30 points, which is not much of a blowout in basketball anyway.
Well, it's crazy. I didn't even know it was coming into tonight, but if you add up all the totals of all the points, there's only 7 points separating both teams. Like if you take all the totals
Yeah.
from all the OKCs and all the totals from Indy and add them up, it's only a 7-point difference.
That's crazy.
So you think, wow, they've lost by 15, but then they won by 9, and then no, they won by 6, but they won by 4. Like even though some of these games haven't looked close, the gaps in between the games, and then obviously the Pacers, how they won Game 6 there, that obviously drove the point differential a little bit differently. But coming into that game, it's been like they really have been close games outside of that one game too, and that was just
but even game 2 was 123 to 107. That's not a
Not that
total
bad.
disaster. Like,
Yeah, I thought it was worse for some reason.
I mean, it felt worse at the time because they wanted to take a 2-0 series lead, and they didn't.
Well,
But-
that's just what I'm thinking. Yeah.
I think there's more pressure on OKC today.
100%.
I was.
I don't think there's any I think there's no pressure for the Pacers. You weren't expected to get this far. You were not expected to win this series. You were not expected to win Game 6. Only
Yeah.
Dan thought you did. I think Bry Pup
I
did
got the
too.
points.
But
Brad,
you
did you
weren't
have the
expected to
Pacers
win.
in Game 6?
Give the Pacers. Yes.
I had the Pacers in Game 6. Yeah.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
See, that's why Bry Pup, he just gets
He's a
all the
legend.
points.
Yeah.
But I don't know, boys. I know originally I said I thought whoever won Game 5 would win the series, which is usually mathematically correct.
Well, usually in history, that's the way it goes.
I'm looking at this year, and I think the Pacers somewhat have momentum. I don't know how much momentum carries from game to game. I kind of agree with Paul Maurice on that from the Florida Panthers, which, wow, there's a lot to unload in what's been going on in Florida lately, too. Oh, my gosh.
I don't think
yeah.
I don't think those guys have slept a minute since they've won.
Have you guys not seen Matthew Tkachuk, what he said?
Yeah, Connor who?
Connor McDavid, who? Always wearing a championship belt. And I see everyone's just throwing him. It's like, yeah, the same guy that had you crying during Four Nations. That's who. But
Yeah, literally.
Well, yeah, but they're
That's
champions. So.
Just Matthew Tkachuk being Matthew Tkachuk.
The Stanley Cup or your country?
that's
Yeah.
just Matthew Tkachuk being Matthew Tkachuk, right? You whether you love him or hate him, that's who he is.
Now, I want to ask Jacob a question. Do we
Let
believe
me ask you a question.
we haven't talked about this, but coming into this game, out of the 19 Game 7s that have been happened in NBA, which is not a lot, to be honest.
It's not.
But out of the 19 that they've had, the home teams have won 15 of them. Do we think? Do we believe in that statistic that OKC is home? They won Game 5. They'll be going home. It's going to be a sea of blue tonight. I thought there was something wrong with my phone, but it's a sea of blue tonight. It's going to be blue everywhere. It's going to be loud in that building tonight. Do we believe in that statistic that's something that we should look into tonight?
Absolutely. I think home court advantage does matter. I know it doesn't matter as much as like in hockey where you get last change and all these fun things. But I think at the end of the day, playing in front of your home fans, it does bring you an energy. The only way it could hurt is if they go down big early, because then there's just that much more pressure. My more concern is with the Pacers, and sorry to bring this to your attention, Chazzy, but I want to take you back to when the Habs went to the Stanley Cup Finals and Shea Weber and Carey Price were so banged up, and then they had that one big game out of them, and then they got the doors blown off them. Could we see that with Tyrese Halliburton tonight,
It's possible.
where
With the type
he
he plays at home, absolutely.
and that's the thing, right? Like he really balled hard the way I felt. I remember that playoff game, I think it was Game 5, where Shea Weber or Game 4, where Shea Weber just took over that game.
He did.
I worry that Tyrese Halliburton is going to be like that from last game, because I thought Tyrese Halliburton, every highlight reel you saw was Halliburton doing something crazy.
Right.
And
Now,
will
mind
this
you, Jake-
calf injury catch up to him? He says he's still very stiff.
But the one good thing about what Halliburton was able to do, he was able to take a whole quarter off and not play, right?
Well, that's your
Game
thing.
6 was so dominant that he was able to sit there and just chill and heal as much as he could. And I think
Oh,
that's
those
where
12 minutes.
OKC really kind of messed this up, where they weren't really pushing him to be as physical. Like that whole second half, he was just like, la-di-da-di-da, I'm just going to walk down, take a shot, walk. Like I feel like he really didn't have to put a lot of effort in the rest of that game because this whole team was saying, "Well, jump on my back. Even if you can't walk, we'll run the mile." Right? Like,
Right.
I feel like
a good
that's how
point.
it's how good the Pacers have done. And another guy I want to give some credit to is Aaron Nesmith, a guy who has really been talked about. And I didn't know this until today doing my research, but Aaron Nesmith has now the leading franchise all-time in playoffs with 59 threes in a single postseason.
Wow.
And if he makes just 3 more in this game to get to 62, he will be top 15, number 15 all time in NBA postseason threes made.
Wow. That's pretty nuts.
Now,
Here's
as
a
friend of the program, Alex says we should change every prop in ours to 69. So we got to hope he hit 69 threes in total.
Oh,
for the playoff.
I don't think he'll beat 10, but
No, I know. I'm just pulling.
that's
right?
crazy. Like there's a
But
guy
that
who-
is crazy. It's weird. And you're right, Lane. This is the guy that, truthfully, this is the first time I'm really hearing his name.
Yeah.
Is you bringing up now. And maybe this is why the Pacers are where they are in this series. Because at
Well-
the end of the day, they've been, you know what? There's so many players that are making key plays and key moments.
I believe he's
Where I
coming in
really
too, but-
think at OKC, it's SGA with a sprinkle of Williams, and that's about it.
I want to point out too, we talk about home court. I think the big advantage in basketball is comes to the 3-point line.
Well,
Because
yeah,
then you
for
got
sure.
the whole crowd behind you waving and farting or whatever they do, trying to
Harding.
Well, someone like lay a fart to distract the shooter. I don't know.
Well, that's the question, and I saw that today that apparently OKC has only been attempting 28.5% of their shots from the 3-point line, which sounds like a lot. But
That's not in this era of basketball.
Yeah, but typically they said it's in this series, it's almost a 10% drop off.
Wow.
That's a lot. Like
That is.
I feel like the Pacers are really doing a good job of just not giving them that room to shoot those threes.
The spread was only a 7-point difference, right? If you drop off 10%, that could be a difference between winning the game and not winning championship, right?
Well, yeah, it was
So
like,
are you guys actually leaning to the Pacers right now? Like I know, Bri Pup, you've already put in your Streakers rivalry to your brother, which makes sense. I mean, you always got to challenge your brother to a rivalry, right?
of course.
And
Right.
man, you two literally, I cannot get over how much your like faces look identical. But anyways,
Yeah, you don't think of it when you see them one by one, but you see them sitting right beside each other. Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
if you
so
guys should
cool.
totally open a restaurant just so you can confuse Gordon Ramsay. when he's
If you
out.
combine the two, they'd be a 9.5 update. They'd be unstoppable.
Wow,
Oh yeah.
they're unstoppable. They're
It'd
like
be almost a
Porsche
double-digit
with no brakes.
updates.
But so Chazzy, you were shaking your head like no. So you still think OKC gets this done?
Yes. I'll be very, very surprised if they don't win at home.
If they don't win, is this a failure? Like serious?
A failure because this team has got a bright future. They got a mitt full of draft picks. They're young. This could be a start of a dynasty, or we'll see them next year. We'll see them next year for sure. So
Regardless if they win or lose, it is the start of a dynasty because they made it to the final.
No, what? Okay, I'm Jacob rant
Right.
time. Jacob rant time.
start of a dynasty.
No,
Yes,
one finals is the start of nothing. If you don't win, it's the start of finishing a race in second
Yeah, but
place.
if they get to the
That's
final
like saying
game
the
of this
Edmonton
year,
Oilers are a dynasty because they made it to the finals twice.
Then
No!
they get to the
Can
finals
we
again
stop
next year and
giving away
win.
the word dynasty so much?
It could
I
be
see
a
the
dynasty.
same thing in the Canadian Football League. You lost 3 Grey Cups in a row, Winnipeg. Wake up. You're not a dynasty.
You only could be Hamilton, bro.
You're OKC. This is not a start of a dynasty. You have number one, you got to make it to the finals multiple times. Number two, you have
Which
to
they
win.
could without his talent.
The Leafs could be a dynasty with all their talent. What's your point?
No, Captain Underpants.
all the talent in the world, arguably one of the most talented rosters in the NHL, and they can't get by the second round. If you're OKC and if you lose to the Pacers, you're saying this is the start of a dynasty. A dynasty. Even if you win, it's not the start of a dynasty. Like, some people argue with me that the Golden State Warriors weren't even a modern day dynasty, which I disagree with.
Oh, they were
under the
100%.
Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and
That's ridiculous.
some other dude,
Yeah, I
Thompson.
agree with you.
And I'm seeing in the comments here the Jacob Rant powered by Streakers Gaming is much appreciated here, because at the end of the day, like, come on, you cannot call it a dynasty when you haven't done anything.
Not calling it a dynasty yet, just saying it could be a start of a dynasty.
You know what, Dan? I could become the most successful knitter in the world and knit 7,000 sweaters tomorrow.
You could.
I'm not going to. You
could.
can't say this is a dynasty just to because you get to the finals. That is
Yeah, but
ridiculous.
if you get to the finals this
That
year,
is
win next year.
ridiculous.
And win next year.
That's still not a dynasty.
No, but you
I
win
don't even
two
think.
after that.
Okay, since we're on this conversation, I don't even think the Florida Panthers are a dynasty yet. You got to win 3. You need
Yeah.
to win 3 championships in a tight window for me to consider you a dynasty.
I agree.
I look at, and we're going to use the proper name for them back in the day. I look at the Edmonton Eskimos when they won 5 Grey Cups and went there 6 years.
That's
in
a
a row.
dynasty.
That's a dynasty. I think about when the Edmonton Oilers won 5 Stanley Cups in a row, including
That's
the
a
last
dynasty.
one without Wayne Gretzky. That's a dynasty.
New York Islanders and Mike Bossy.
The New York Islanders, when they won multiple Stanley Cups in a row,
Dynasty.
that's a dynasty. Making it to the finals once, that's
Your
cute.
Patriots.
That's not a dynasty. That's like saying
Patriots?
the Indiana Pacers are on the start of a dynasty because they're in the finals.
No.
They don't have the star power of the young
What
star
about the
power.
Puppies Patriots? New England.
Oh my
Oh,
dynasty.
yeah.
Dynasty. As much as a Bills fan, I bloody hate saying it. That's a dynasty.
Even the Chiefs might be a dynasty at the moment.
They
Well, I just
haven't,
couldn't
won,
tell you with Swift, Will.
haven't won 3 in a row. Haven't won 3. Okay. There's a difference between a dominant group and a dynasty group. I would call KC dominant, not a dynasty. I
But
would
if they
put
win one more than that.
KC and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to me are in that same area. They're dominant, not a dynasty.
But
So
if,
when
we win, if
Pittsburgh
they
won
win
their-
one more, they win. That's
If they win,
You-
if they win this year, which God, I hope they don't, but if they do, then you will say dynasty and you will start to put Patrick Mahomes in the same category as Tom Brady, at least in the conversation. Now,
That's
right now,
when I
do
stopped
I
watching
think
football.
they're the same? No, and I'm going to tell you why. When Tom Brady was down 24 points, he didn't just sulk there as much as I'm sorry, Brian.
He deflated his ball.
I absolutely hate the Patriots. I'm just keeping it a buck here. But at the end of the day, when you were down over 20 points, do you know what Tom Brady did? He deflated his
Deflated his
balls,
ball.
got out there and got a win.
Yeah.
When you look at Mr. The Patrick Mahomes, the dude with the hair that looks like Kermit the Frog. At the end of the day, when they were down 20 plus points, as soon as Jalen Hurst threw another touchdown pass, it literally looked like he just found out his cat was going to a farm upstate.
Ooh. Ouch.
The best part of the best part of the part 2 of the Define of Dynasty is using the right name. Absolutely.
Oh.
By the way, there is a lot of talks Edmonton will be going back to the Eskimo name, just as an FYI
Really?
for any Elks fans.
Mhm.
Yes, because they did switch their branding this season, right? And the old owner said he wants to keep the history alive of the Eskimos. And fun fact, the Eskimo people themselves said they were disappointed when the name was changed.
They did say that, yeah.
They basically
Really?
changed the name
Yep.
because of Pepsi, because Pepsi was whining. Pepsi's not a sponsor, I don't believe anymore. So
Wasn't it Coke whining?
no. Coke was about something else that we're not going
Because
to talk
Coke was
about.
the one that said that the guy.
We're not going to talk about that.
Oh,
No.
on.
No. Just in case
no
everyone
balls,
knows,
J-Mo.
if Dan's about to say something I don't like, I can mute his mic. Dan, talk. I can do one even better. I can kick him out.
See you later.
So
You're
if you
gone.
ever see the Dan's about to take it too far button, I know what to hit.
He
But
doesn't even need the 10-second delay. He just knows. Like live TV is a 10-second delay. Jacob don't even need that.
I have lived with Dan I have known Dan for my entire life. Fun fact. I've known my mother longer because, well, I was in there before then. But I do find I will say though, I love the fact that you guys brought up Dynasty, but you cannot talk about because for all you guys know, OKC could come out next year and suck. People, I remember when people were saying the Raptors are going to be a dynasty. Then Kawhi Leonard left, and then we were mediocre. For all you know, SGA could go play baseball, and this team will become crappy again.
You never know what's going to happen, right?
Call a team if they win the championship this year and then win it next year, and then you want to talk dynasty to me, fine. Not a dynasty now. And Dan, answer your question. No, I wouldn't consider the Pittsburgh Penguins a dynasty when they won 2 Stanley Cups. They didn't win 3. 2 is dominant. 3 is dynasty.
What about Detroit Red Wings?
They won 2. So what does that mean?
Where do you go?
Yeah, but that's probably the most Hall of Fame team in history.
Oh, can we not start about the Hall of Fame again?
So winning back-to-back cups, what would you call them?
Dominant.
Dominant.
Not a dynasty.
It's not.
It's dominance. If you win 3, then it's a dynasty.
It's 3. It's either 3 in a row or 3 in 4 years. That's
Like,
the definition.
Depending what the
Okay, right
injury
now
is
it's not
that.
looking like it in Argo land, considering they're 0-3. But hypothetically, if the Toronto Argos could figure out they have to play offense, defense, and special teams, there's 3 parts to it.
All in the same game.
All in the same game, maybe just even all in the same quarter. But
Hey, you win
if they find a way to win, that'll be 3 Grey Cups in 4 years with a 16-2 record in between. That will be a dynasty. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, if they win the Grey Cup this year, that'll be 6 straight Grey Cup appearances, 3 Grey Cups. That I will argue is a dynasty. I will not argue a team winning twice is nice. It's not a dynasty. And I look at the Pittsburgh Penguins here, and this could be a whole show in itself. What completely screwed you over was giving away Marc-Andre Fleury in the expansion draft. If you kept Marc-Andre Fleury, you probably win another Stanley Cup because he took the Vegas Golden Knights. Where his first year? Oh, just Stanley Cup Finals, no big deal. And he was dominant.
Yeah.
They decided to take a chance on Matt Murray, and it blew up in their face.
And it wasn't Doofus that did that.
No.
Oh well. Yeah.
But getting back here to this game here, it's interesting that the Pacers have not won back-to-back games yet in this series.
They haven't.
OKC has done that once now after they won Game 4 and Game 5. So, Chazzy, is that why you're still feeling so confident with OKC?
I don't think OKC's lost back-to-back games like in a very long time. I just feel OKC will bounce back. I don't know what happened to them in Game 6. It just felt like, I don't know, energy or what happened in Game 6, but they bounced back in Game 5. They just fell flat in Game 6, and I'm anticipating they're going to be flying tonight.
Or do you think it's more because maybe they just didn't come prepared in Game 6?
Oh yeah, this is crazy.
Possibly.
Oh, here we go. And
This is
actually, I was
big.
wondering if this trade was going to come up in conversation.
The trade, yes.
One of my Houston friends is mad that the Rockets are getting KD. I'm assuming you mean Kevin Durant and not Kraft Dinner. I like Kraft Dinner. Dan hates Kraft Dinner.
I hate Kraft Dinner. I'm a piece of
That would
crap.
be like any of us Canadians being mad at Mahomes came to the CFL.
Wow, that bad, eh?
Well,
You know
no,
what?
I mean, it's
I don't
Kevin
get it
Durant
either.
Kevin Durant.
Isn't it a good thing? I wanted Kevin Durant to be a Raptor. I would have bought Kevin Durant.
Now,
Okay,
they
so
gave up a lot to get him.
Like,
But, I mean, I
think
think either Lane, Chazzy, or Brypop, anyone except Dan and I could probably break down this trade better than Dan and I can. So was this a good trade for Houston, in your guys' opinion?
Yes and no. I think.
there was a
I just think he's old. Like it's not that he's not good. Of course he's good.
What do you boys think?
up you
You
go.
traded him for Jalen Green, who's a huge player. Dylan Brooks is huge. Like you just lost 2 of your huge starters. Yeah, you still have your young Thompson there, and you still have Sagan. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong because I think he's Czechoslovakian. I think his name is Sagan, or it's close to, not Sagan, but I'm saying his name wrong. But he's a dominant center in the Houston Rockets. So you still have your young pieces there, and now you're bringing in Kevin Durant. But losing Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green, that's huge, massive pieces of that team. That's what's gotten that team kind of going in those 2 pieces. So that'd be like trading like Nesmith and Siakam for a Durant. It's like, does it make you better? Yeah, probably. But again, look what we're seeing right now with the Pacers. Team dynamic, right? We're seeing people that have a team, not just players. And that's what we're seeing tonight. It's going to be interesting. I really do think I'm calling it out now, and I'm saying 100%. If the Pacers win tonight, 100%, like they go up there and they win tonight, we're seeing a seismic change in the NBA. There's no way you're going to sit there and tell me we're just going to get 3 players, because I don't think it's going to work. I think we're going to see more teams take an approach what the Pacers are doing and try to get a full bench and a full starting group. You don't always necessarily have to have the best player on there. As long as you have 5 guys that go up there and then your bench can come in, substitute, and get you 20, 30 points every night, I think it's going to be a big change tonight. The Pacers win tonight. I don't know. I think the Duck agrees with me.
Either agrees with you or is trying to find the bread here. The Duck agrees. Stream Your Duck, brought to you by Stream Duck. But Bright Pup, you wanted to get a word in there about that situation. So what are you thinking about this move?
It was a really good return for Phoenix. I really like the return that Phoenix got.
It's good players.
This trade, especially with all those, not just the picks, but the 2 players that they got.
It's huge.
Really good players for them in the future.
Bright Pup, I got a question for you while you're there. Oh, while he was full screen. Do you think Phoenix actually is now the better team? Like you've got what's his name? The point Devin Brooks.
Yeah.
Now you got Green. Now you got Harper. Now you got the other guy too. Like, do you think they came? Do you almost think like they almost look better myself? I think they came up because they got 2 assets, and then you add into what they already have there.
It all depends how good those draft picks turn out.
Yeah, true.
I think the Phoenix Suns will be a team to watch for next year. Mark my words, they're going to be a team. Watch out for them next year.
Back to the comment section we go, though. Okay, but word on the vine is Green hasn't anything. When does it become okay to stick your neck out for someone? And I mean, it's the walking proof of that. Dan Ovechkin's being called out here. And sometimes age is never a factor. Ovi is the walking proof of that. Now, the difference is, though, I do agree with you saying about Kevin Durant and Ovechkin. You could make those comparisons. But will you get the same results in the playoffs if Alexander Ovechkin having a mediocre playoffs? It's a trade. This trade will be looked at either as as a brilliant trade for the Rockets or a terrible trade for the Rockets. No one's going to look at that trade and be like, yeah, it was okay.
I was thinking that's what I was thinking about.
And you're like, and teams are like, you know what? Yeah, we got what we got. They got what they got. No, if the Rockets go on a run, it's a great trade. If the Rockets do not go on a run and get eliminated in the first 2 rounds next year, the trade's bad. Agree or disagree?
It all depends how the NBA goes. Are we going to see the NBA going like Indiana to a team method way? Or are we going to go to a team like Oklahoma City to a couple franchise players? I would say even at his age, Kevin Durant is still a franchise player, and it's not that many franchise players out there.
Gets hurt a lot.
I don't know if Kevin Durant's a franchise player anymore. I think he's good, but he can't stay healthy, right? So unless you can game manage him well, the Rockets have enough depth to go without him in the lineup.
I mean, he still shot over 52% and still averaged 26 points a game. But again, you're getting him at another year older, right? That's the thing people don't realize. Like, it's not even like you're getting it. He's not going to be another year older now, right?
Smith, you will never be kicked off the island, by the way. Number one is because on the island, we ran out of boots because we kept trying to kick Dan off for all his crazy takes. So all the boots are in the ocean. Dan threw them all there.
The only thing that might make you do is they might make you sit in the hot, smoldering sun. They won't let me have a house. I have to sit and watch the Dolphins go by, and that's why I'm wearing my neck fan, because it's very hot here on the island tonight. I'm kidding.
So, question for you boys, though. Tip off is coming up. Game starts at 8 o'clock.
On, Mr. Dasco.
What's that? What did you say, Dan?
Get your tan on, Mr. Dasco.
That's right. I actually do tan very well.
Oh, of course you would. I'm white as a ghost, but dude, you tan nicely.
You're as white as sour cream. You're an AV club and Glee club and even the chess team.
Oh.
I don't know if you guys know what that's from or not, but I
know.
Weird Al, white and nerdy.
My tan, though. That's not bad.
You have the driver's tan since you claim you don't use your air conditioning when you're out in the only car that has air conditioning, and we all know you're lying. But let's get into this actual game. Chazzy looking like he's getting ready for a boxing match the way he's wrapping up around his hand. Who's winning this match tonight? Is it OKC or is it the Thunder? I would like Mr. Dashko to start.
Did you
Well,
do that? Is it
I don't know if Dan's going to pick them
Or the-
tonight. I laughed at them last time. I'm going with the Indiana Pacers. I think veteran leadership.
Did I
Win
say
over-
OKC or the Thunder, by the way?
I think
You
he
did,
might have,
yeah.
but
That's
I made it happen.
Whooper
good.
Rio.
OKC or the Pacers, okay?
I think Pacers are winning. I laughed at Dan in Game 6. I regret it. I made a mistake. Pacers are winning tonight. Veteran leadership and team will win tonight.
However, Lane, don't worry. We could still laugh at Craig and Dan later when Aaron Rodgers gets hurt in the first game of the season and doesn't
That's
win.
true.
No!
Time's coming. Time's coming.
I don't see why not.
See there?
Even Blind Pup. No.
Riple's on our side. Let's go. We got them.
It wins.
So, Mr. Moore, who are you taking? Are you sticking with your Pacers or do you think SGA gets it done? Which is not the Sega Genesis, by the way.
Is that the Green that was on the Raptors?
No.
Oh, it's Danny Green, was it?
Yes, continue.
Okay, anyway. I'm sticking with my guns. I'm saying the Indiana Pacers. I'll be honest, I wasn't a huge Siakam fan when he was in Toronto. But since he won the championship and now he's really taken charge of being a veteran leader. Oh, okay, hi. I really think he's going to get it done tonight. I give him a lot of respect. You know, you always see differences in people's careers when they won the championship as a younger player versus winning a championship as an older player. They say they appreciate it more as an older player. And I think that's going to be Siakam tonight. I think we're going to get it done and upset everyone. All the viewers are on. We're in KC. All the pluses on KC. And Indiana's going to walk in for nice Air Jordans on and get it done.
Very true, Dan. That very well could happen. But I'm going to go with my pick. And the reason why I went with this screen, I want to be bigger on the screen, but I still want to see Lane, Chazzy's, Bry Pups, and more Four's reaction. I'm calling an OKC blowout. I honestly think the Pacers are going to run out of gas. What they've done is incredible. I think they're going to run out of gas. And as much as I love Pascal Siakam, he's always been a number 2 on a team. You got Halliburton, who's injured. You have a bench that's been overperforming. And SGA is going to play the most of the game. I'm thinking 40 minutes plus. And he's going to get away to win this one. And that's why I wanted everyone's face on the screen, because I wanted everyone's baffledness when I'm calling for the first true blowout. 25-point difference in this one.
Wow.
I think
25
OKC kind of just finally... I'll be honest with you boys. I hope to hell I'm wrong. I really do, because I'm hoping for a good game. And if I said who I want to win this game, I want the Pacers to win, to be honest, because I want to see a change in the NBA where teams just don't get one player and then just treat everyone else like bums. But I think basketball is one of those sports where one player can take over a game more than any other sport. And I'm think
looking forward to the post game tonight.
Pacers have done have been amazing. I just don't. I think it's going to be the Calvin Pickard effect. I think the Fairly Odd Parents have realized it's against the rules, and that's the end of it. But Chazzy and Bry Pup, what do you guys think? I think we know who you guys are picking, but go ahead.
I'm sticking with the Indiana Pacers.
Let's go, Bry Pup.
No, I'm with you. I'm OKC.
Wow, we got.
Now you say with me, Chazzy. Do you think, how crazy am I calling for a bit of a blowout?
I don't know about a blowout, but you know what? They don't. Who knows? These playoffs have shown us some wild things in some of these games, so you never know.
I will say that this finals has been one of the best NBA finals I remember in a long time.
Yeah.
You got two teams playing really hard. You got two teams that are built very differently. And, as this Lane pointed out, it's the first Game 7 we've seen in 9 years, right?
And not only that, it feels unpredictable, right? Like some of the other ones, I feel like sometimes in the NBA it feels very predictable who's going to win because it'll be like, Golden State versus this team. It's like, well, how are you going to beat Klay Thompson, Curry, and Durant? You're not going to.
Raptors did.
Yeah, but they did. Well, they did. Well, they didn't because Durant and Klay Thompson got hurt and didn't play the game 6. But my point is, a lot of the time, some of these series, they do feel very predictable. when you're coming in, and then it's kind of like even this one. Let's be honest, everyone was like, "Whoa, this is going to be OKC. Where it's going to be 5 games and over." It felt predictable. Has it been predictable? No, it hasn't. And the big thing I think is going to be tonight, we'll have to keep an eye on, is the turnovers. Now, I couldn't believe this number. I had to double and triple check it because this number surprises me. I can't believe there's been 120 turnovers in this series.
I can't.
That-
Neither team wants to hold the ball.
It's been 61 for the Pacers and 59 for OKC. So that's
So they're
averaging
even,
20.
too.
That's 20 turnovers a game. Do we think
Wow.
that's going to be playing a huge factor tonight? Or think it's going to be a tighter game? Do you think there's going to be
I'm
more?
expecting a tighter game. I mean, I think the Pacers want to keep it fast and loose, but because the interesting thing is, I think the Pacers, and this is just more, and I've been looking at game-to-game stats, the Pacers are creating more points offset turnovers than OKC are because they're more of a fast break offense. So turnovers in a fast break offense is a deadly combination, right? But we will have to see. It's going to be a good game, I think. Like, I truly feel this will, even as much as I call it a blowout, I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's a really tight,
It's going to be. I think it's going to be a fun
game.
game.
Or do we see the predictability we expected from the beginning?
We'll see.
You know who knows? The players on the court. Now, some people have said the script has already been leaked. I saw these dumb things where people Photoshop things on Google to make it look like Google's already put the score up for tonight. Google did not already put the score up for today. Just in case, because I'm like, if we can break it on the island, that the NBA is.
It would be now. It would be hilarious if somehow that game ends up. Then we might have a conspiracy theory stream coming
Oh,
on.
there's always conspiracy theories, especially when Dan's on the island. Dan has so many conspiracy theories. He probably doesn't even think this island exists. It's just an illusion from a mushroom he had onto.
Oh, it does exist. I'm on it right
I
now.
don't do drugs.
And I am
I
on
never
the,
said
I
drugs,
physically-
Dan. Not all mushrooms are drugs.
Mushrooms
Not all mushrooms are drugs. Oh, look at Dad. He's a
Well,
drug
what do you put
addict.
on your pizza then?
Well, because Canadian pizza is great. You get like the mushrooms. and
Hopefully, you don't put drugs
pepperoni
on your
and-
pizza.
Well, I'm not going to answer that, but
What does pineapple on pizza?
yes,
Yeah.
that could be a 1v1 right there. But we didn't get a chance to get in all to everything we wanted to on this episode. But just so everyone knows, on our pre-recorded show, we will be talking about the Ryan Dinwiddie situation, basically where he basically just called his team bad and said that someone's going home because the Argos did take 137 yards in penalties, which is just unacceptable. There was more penalty yardage than rushing yardage for the Toronto Argos on Saturday evening.
Well, you might want to. Everyone who might want to stay tuned to the pre-record because I got a question. I think I'm going to set Jacob off on a rant, so I'm going to tell him what the question is. I'm going to make it sit. So you're going to have to tune into the pre-record to find out what the question is. Ooh, mystery.
We're also going to talk about Mitch Marner, by the way. There's been a lot of Leaf drama with Mitch Marner. Apparently now he is only looking for a 2-year deal.
Go away.
And okay.
Not you. I meant Martin.
Well, he is going away. Don't worry.
Good.
The rumor is
Good.
he's looking at a 2-year deal because he thinks he can get paid a lot more when the cap goes up to
This
$120
guy,
million.
man. Don't get me started. Don't get me
And
started.
apparently it looks like he may not be signing till mid-July. So who knows what's going on there. Plus, we'll get into everything that's going on in the CFL. A lot of controversy. I'm going to bring up a take that I think everyone's going to think I'm crazy about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And a lot's going to go on. But I think it is time that we sign off. My phone died. It's 8:03. Yeah, the game's about to start.
I guess
Right.
we do a post game too. Right?
We will be back for a post game unless Dan decides to truly find out if magic mushrooms belong on a pizza. Then we would not be here for a post game. But of course, I'm the self-proclaimed sports analyst, joined by the giggler Dan Moore for your money,
Woo!
Lane Dashing Dashko, who I swear we do let him go inside. He's not
I
like
know.
a dog that we don't let in. Also, too, he's got to have a big bottle of water somewhere. I
No,
hope.
actually, I don't.
Lane,
Wow, what a champ.
you need water. Keep hydrated. And of course, we have Chazzy, the CEO, who puts the capital E in CEO. And we were joined by a man who might be giving Lane Dashing Dashko a real run for the title, Bry Pup 3.0.
Seriously.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Thank you for being
Yes.
halved.
The legend.
He's not a myth, ladies and gentlemen. They may look the same, but we have now confirmed, unless Chazzy has learned some crazy editing skills, that Brian Pup and Chazzy are not the same person.
Real.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for joining, everyone. We'll be back for a pulse game. Plus, we will be doing our pre-record show. And let us know, do you guys like the pre-records the best? Do you like the live shows the best? We want your feedback. So make sure you send us an email at streakersislandpodcast@gmail.com and let us know your thoughts on what we're doing with the show, what things you'd like to see added. And trust me, we have a lot coming. We're talking about starting to do live custom props in the Streakers app. So make sure you check that out. It's going to be exciting. It's going to make Dan flood his room with enjoyment. But thank you very much for watching the Streakers Island podcast. See you right in the comments. We have one fan who's a huge fan of live. But
Maybe it's live. Maybe they also want to, or they just really want us to live and have good
you
health.
know what? I also want to live.
Lane,
So-
you need water in order to live.
Yeah, Lane, you do need water to live.
Fair enough.
But is water wet? That's the $1 million question, ladies and gentlemen. And I can ask it because I have $1 million in Grand Theft Auto 4. I don't play Grand Theft Auto 5. I play Grand Theft Auto 4. Nico, it's your cousin, Roman. Let's go bowling. That wasn't right. Yes, it was. Goodbye.
Bye.